In this video, I want to talk about best water practices for your molecular hydrogen water bottle. As discussed in the previous video on the waters that we want to avoid, such as alkaline water, reverse osmosis water, or distilled water, in this video, I want to describe the water that is suggested to yield the most optimal output and most therapeutic potentiality for your body. So the first thing that we recommend is spring water. So spring water exists in nature. You will find that spring water is filled with natural minerals from the earth, so it's living water. And in addition to it being living water, it also is essentially structured water. Structured water is such an important part of our overall vitality and life force, as well as the electrical potential that exists within our cells. Now, structured water is created within our body, and it's created against what's called hydrophilic surfaces. So it's essentially water-loving surfaces, which is all of our cell membranes, our fascia, our vessels in our body are all hydrophilic surfaces. And really what's been found in some of the research by Gerald Pollack is that structured water is actually the fourth phase of water, which is known as H3O2. And structured water is essentially formed by tighter bonding of the hydrogen atoms, which creates a hexagonal lattice structure of the water. So as this structured water is formed in the body, it actually pushes out a hydrogen proton, which creates a very proton-rich zone, or what research would call a proton wire. So essentially what this creates is a zone of negatively charged water that's lining the hydrophilic surfaces. So the surfaces within our body, on our cells, on our fascia, and beyond. And then just outside of this zone is another zone that's formed by protons that were actually pushed out by the negatively charged structured water. So what happens here is we have positively charged water zone and a negatively charged water zone that essentially builds in tandem with each other. And this separation creates a charge like a battery. It's essentially electrical potential increasing in our body. This is how important water is and structured water within the body. Our body is able to use this energetic potential to create biological actions inside the body. So there's so much research on structured water. Even our sweat is actually structured water. However, in order to structure water or to even have good molecular hydrogen or therapeutic water, the water needs to be alive and it needs to have minerals inside of it. So when it comes to structuring water and producing molecular hydrogen in water, it's essential that we have clean water. First and foremost, if we do not have clean water, we have water that's filled with glyphosate or pesticides or industrial toxins. And this essentially degrades the water within our body and within our cells, as well as the water that we would be consuming. So clean and filtered water is essential. So we recommend filtered water and or spring water that actually has live minerals in it. And we need minerals in our water to actually hold charge. So this is that battery or electrical component of water. Without minerals, it's considered dead water, and our body doesn't know how to recognize it to invite this water into the cell when it does not contain its essential minerals. So I highly recommend checking out where your local spring is or getting a good water filter. We've created a couple of suggestions on our website of basic filters. Now you can spend anywhere from $100 to hundreds of dollars, of course. But when it comes to producing the best molecular hydrogen water for your body, it's essentially clean water and or spring water that fall within the following ratios. The suggested pH that is suggested from Nunonina is to fall within 4.2 to 6.2 pH. This is going to create the ideal environment for advanced therapeutic molecular hydrogen without compromising the pH of the gut. The highest we want to see this range go is 7. So the goal is below 7, but preferably having the pH, which means potential for hydrogen, between 4.2 and 6.2. Because of the technology of our bottle, the low voltage in the process of electrolysis actually does not increase the pH at all. So whatever pH is coming in the bottle for water, that's the exact pH that will be the result after the 3, 6, or 9 minute hydrogen process. Now, the second thing to look for, especially in spring water, is the TDS, total dissolved solids. So ideally, you do not want a high TDS because if there's a lot of dissolved solids, it can be really hard on your kidneys, and too many minerals can also stagnate the kidneys and the flow in the body. So Nuno suggests that the total dissolved solid number lies between 20 and 50 is the ideal range. This is another reason why we don't suggest sparkling water, as the dissolved solids are usually up in the hundreds to thousands when it comes to sparkling water. Now, the next outcome of your molecular hydrogen cycle will produce an ORP of negative 600 to negative 400. Now, this is the oxidation reduction potential, and this is very important. Oxidation reduction potential essentially measures the substance's ability to either oxidize or to reduce another substance. Now, if you have a positive reading on ORP, this essentially means that the substance has an oxidizing agent. And if you have a negative reading on ORP, this means that the substance has more of a reducing agent. So in this case, we produce a negative charge, really focusing on the reduction side. So essentially, ORP is the energy in water in terms of electrons. And the movement of electrons creates the electricity or the electric potential in our water. And this is actually measured in millivolts. The next important output is something called RH2. So this is essentially the relative hydrogen score. It essentially measures the reduction power in the liquid. A score that is on the lower side means that it has a higher antioxidant power and a reducing power. And an RH2 number that's on the higher side means that it has higher oxidizing power. So these ratios are really important for therapeutic water. So I'll repeat that. The pH zone that we would like your water to come into the bottle is between 4.2 and 6.2, but at least below 7. After you run your cycle on the molecular hydrogen bottle with either clean spring water or filtered water that falls within these ranges, the output is the pH stays the same. The ORP is between negative 600 and negative 400, and the RH2 is less than 8. And you are left with a high level of therapeutic molecular hydrogen, which helps increase mitochondrial energy, ATP, upregulate your cytoprotective pathways and NRF2 pathways, and so many benefits and beyond. And what a simple way for us to be able to address our health just through hydration and through proper hydration and therapeutic molecular hydrogen.